Welcome to the Movement Magazine. I'm your host, Sharon Sykes, and I am with producer extraordinaire Warryn Campbell. Some of you have heard most of his music all over the world, and he's going to tell you a little bit about his genesis, you know, how he got started and what his inspiration was and the whole thing. Well, we know it was the Lord, but he's just going to talk to you a little bit about his life and his journey. Welcome to the Movement Magazine.
How you doing?
Good, good. So talk to us about Warryn. You know, everybody knows you as this off-the-chain producer, but now can we learn a little bit about the man?
Well, I mean, at the core of me, basically, I'm a church boy that grew up in the hard streets of South Central Los Angeles.
And what was that like?
One, it was my culture. It was hard, but it wasn't that hard because I had a father at home. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference. That in most homes, you know, the father's not there, but when the father is there and active in the child's life, you see the child turns out a lot different.
Well, let's talk to the teenager who's going to be watching this online, who doesn't have that father at home, who has that musical gift. He has these sounds going on in his head. What is your message to him? Because if we want to look at the statistics, a lot of our men of color, are locked up, or they're on a journey right now, and some of them are not in the home.
Right.
But there's a kid that's going to watch this who may know you from afar.
Yeah.
What do you say to him?
Well, I would say to that young person, really, father figures are all around. Sometimes our situation causes us to be jaded and upset and mad at the world, and we don't let people in that are right in front of us all the time. My father was the only father at home in my neighborhood, but he became a father to
the neighborhood.
He became a father to the entire neighborhood. Anybody that would accept him. You had some kids who didn't want that because they were just angry, you know. But there's people around you. If you just open your eyes and look around, you know, that's the way God does. You know what I'm saying?
The village.
Yeah, it takes a village, you know. But God is He would give you everything you need and have it all around you, but you got to open your eyes and see and let people in and realize that it's not just a random person. That's God sending somebody to you to help you navigate through life.
So when did you know you had something special? What was that defining moment where you said, wow, like, I know God has really put something inside of me that's very unique and special?
I was very young. I was, 7 or 8 years old. And playing, instruments, playing in church and stuff like that, and everywhere we went, there was always a crowd around me because this little kid can play the piano, this little kid can play the drums, or something like that, And so it took my father and my grandfather just sitting me down and telling me.
Wow, so you had both.
I had both. I had both in my house, telling me who I was, telling me, what I had inside of me and how to handle this gift, And same thing I do for my son. My son, when it's bedtime, he has to repeat after me. So I'm a black man. I'm a holy man. I'm a strong man. Just reaffirming who he is. And at the end of that, I say I'm a Campbell man. He has to know who he is, and the name that he carries is not just his name. It's my name. It's his grandfather's name. It's his great grandfather's name, and he has to govern himself accordingly through his life. So if I instill, he's only 2 years old, but he knows who he is. He wakes up and says, I'm a strong man.
So I'm going to ask you, I know you have to move along because you guys are kind of sticking and moving today. I want you to talk to that kid in the camera, and I want you to name him the way your father and your grandfather named you.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know that's something to think about, but there's a kid out there, like we just talked about earlier, who maybe doesn't have the resources. Maybe they don't have that ability to reach out. So I'm going to ask you right now to speak over their lives and just name them, so that the streets won't name them, or so that negative influences, because there are a lot of leaders that are watching this, a lot of teachers, psychologists, that if they don't tap in, they'll never know.
Right.
So I'm just going to ask you to look into that camera and just name a little boy, or name several million of them right now from this very moment.
listen, I want you to know who you are and whose you are. You're God's property. He made you, and He formed you, and He fashioned you in a certain way. You're talented, you're smart. He made you that way. And I don't want anybody in the street or anybody else at school, at work, to be able to tell you anything different, because God designed you. He designed you and put greatness in you, and His purpose is to get greatness out of you. So I want you to know who you are. One, you are loved by God. He made you because He loved you. He knows the amount of hairs on your head. He knows your very thoughts. He cares about everything and every detail of your life. That's who you are. That's whose you are. You're strong. You're stronger than you know. You're strong because you're still breathing through everything you've been through. You're still here and you're still breathing. So I want you to take that breath and cherish it. And every day wake up and say, God allowed me to do this again. And wake up with pride, saying, God still loves me because I'm still breathing. Let me do something positive. Let me look around and see what I can do to better myself and not wait for somebody to better me. You know what I'm saying? You are special. You are great. You are strong. And don't you ever, ever, ever forget it.
Wow, you heard it right here on the Movement Magazine. To learn more about Warryn Campbell, Warryn the Campbell Man Campbell, log on to www.themovementmagazine.net. I'm your host, Sharon Sykes. Keep it locked right here. We'll be right back with Isaac Caree and Fred Hammond. Keep it locked. It's the Movement Magazine. Thank you. Wow. Thank you, bro.